Good morning. Here we've got some new figures I've been working on over the last few months. Because I teach, I tend to do most of it during the holidays, and then what we've got here is what I've been finishing off over the last few weeks and trying to update. So first up, we've got a collection of character figures. These come from Ral Patha, and really inspired to have a go at these because we needed more teenage figures. Role play, you often start off 16, 17, and we needed some smaller figures. Ral Patha, these ones are 25 mils, so really nice for slightly shorter people. Great cleric here, mace tucked down there. A female fighter of some sort. I'll end up adding shield to this figure because it didn't look quite right with just a sword. And she'll do really well in the Irish or the Scots or Dark Age figures as well. This lad is distinctly high fantasy. Again, I added a shield on it. It's a thief with a sword, and we tend to not quite use the D&D rules and lack lighter arm figures, so the studded leather was really nice on this. A couple of clerics. Mixed armor, sort of breastplates, and then lighter armor elsewhere, which is a nice combo under our rule system for people going adventuring where you can't really wear that heavy armor on your arms and legs and still move effectively. Female cleric. Another nice ranger stroke thief type. Crouch really low with a sword. Interesting figure, actually. You realise how much posture really feeds into height. Now, this is going to be a useful one. I mentioned in the last video a young magic user, and we really did have a big hole there in my collection for some reason. I know there are a lot of 3-stage characters and wizards and apprentices around, but this is a good start getting a young wizard without a crazy beard. And talking of crazy beards, an awesome wee druid here. Nice, and again useful for late teens, early 20s, where a lot of people do role playing. Female dwarf, my second figure female dwarf, so that's nice. I'm starting to get some choices there too, and then some rather scantily clad females. I do try and avoid figures like this as a rule, and most of the ones that turned up from Ral Patha that looked more like strippers than magic users I didn't use, but did do her. Slightly more clad female magic user, and she's nice. Thief, studded armour. For some reason people really like this paint job. I thought it was really simple, almost too simple, but it's fine for a thief. And another female rogue stroke pirate. She could very easily end up in the pirates actually, but will do for fantasy as well. So nice addition of 25mm figures. They'll mix in really nicely with the 28 and start to give you the body shape and size you need. Next up is the medievals. Again, same thinking here. Got a lot of 28mm. These are old Foundry, so they're closer to 25 than 28, but really nice figures. We're doing role play in Germany in 1530s. They're a wee bit early for that, but we'll feed into it and get lots of use as generic medievals. So we've got the family standards, these two lads. This little big man, medieval transfers. Should have been a bit more creative in how I use them. I don't think the lion and eagle together quite work, but that's what I've gone for. And those guys, here's one I substantially altered, put on a lion transfer which wasn't showing, then painted over it. It's quite a good way to do a lion rampart, which is really tricky. And then the simple chevrons provide that sort of variety you need in medieval livery. Another knight, very quickly land up with too many knights. had fun reflecting the lines on these. And trumpeter. Needed a very, very fair, tawny stroke battlefield. Blow the knight's trumpets. Another man-at-arms stroke knight. These dolphins, you can see the difference it made having a different background to them. If I was to do this again, I would have kept the shield white and then painted the colour around them. And the last of the knights, or stroke men-at-arms, heavily armoured spearmen. I think the shield came up quite nicely, actually. Again, transfers which I've painted into the scheme, added in a bit of yellow. And then some very, very useful crossbowmen. You can never have too many crossbowmen in a medieval collection, manning the castle walls, defending the keep. And these Kettlehelm dudes are nice and generic and span a good 200 years, maybe even longer, medieval history. So they're going to be very handy, probably get lots of play. These Foundry crossbowmen, the whole crossbow is separate, so I ended up having to drill into the side hand and then arrowite in. I never trust super glue, and always use epoxy resins for these. Once they snap off from super glue, you never get them back into place properly. So I've taken to pinning and drilling and arrowiting all my arms, etc. on metal resin figures. And sometimes you get a nice clean bond, and sometimes not so much. Yeah, this one's a bit far forward, as you can see. A little awkward. I've got some more crossbowmen coming from Claymore. Very nice medieval figure manufacturer, and they've done it differently with their crossbows. The cross bit is separate, whereas the stock is mounted into the figure, and that makes a much better fit and much more natural posing, more realistic posing. Oh, this was one piece, and as you can see, it's great when the crossbow is part of the figure and you get it properly sitting together. Very much the same with mounted horse, I find. Oh, a couple of wee assassins for role play. Oops, back you go. Another assassin. Not much to these guys. Black, basically. A wee bit of colour in there. And then a snake priest. Some sort to control them. Always need lots of challenges. Talking of challenges, move over again. And we're moving on to the ghosts or undead. These you'll recognise, many of you will recognise as Games Workshop Army of Dead from the Middle-earth range. Really nice figures. Originally was going to paint them up as sort of zombie undeady skeleton types, but landed up going with their paint job, which is the sort of ethereal ghost look which was in the movies. Certainly makes them more powerful undead. Mixed feelings, but I've been twiddling with these back and forth, washing them down, and now I'm thoroughly over it, so I'm just going to go with what I've got. They look distinctively undead and different. Two-piece plastic kits, and you can see the motion in the figures is really gorgeous. Shields separate, and they come together very nicely. And the new simple plastic kits, the two-piece ones, Games Workshop have been coming out with, create very flowing figures, very nice poses. So nice figures. 12 of those will help us ghosts. And as you can see, it was a pretty productive holiday. 2 weeks was where I got most of this pushed through. When you have clear time to work on it, it's really nice. And the last thing is another set of market. This is all 3D printed terrain from the Infinite Dimensions Whitewood Abbey range. And I'd done one print of them all, and they look great, and they're getting used all the time, so I did a second print. Which is the nice thing about 3D prints. You can have as many as you want. And provided they aren't too closely together or placed on slightly different angles, it won't be that obvious that they are doubled up, but they'll provide a really nice market scene, Tinker's Fair type. This is gorgeous. We well and washes women's laundry area, which fits into the city. And the last bit is dwarves. Well, this is from a very early Chronicle, or maybe Games Workshop, Middle Earth range, where they still had the license, and it's the dwarves from The Hobbit on ponies. Gorgeous set of figures. Unfortunately, I lost the rest of the mounted dwarves, or didn't get them, rather I should say. These are inherited from a friend. So I've got 3 of the ponies without riders, but they make a very good baggage team stroke spare mounts. My daughter loves these, needless to say. Cute little horsies. And they'll fit in nicely around the farmyards and the inns. Yep, that's all for now. I hope you're enjoying. Next up, I'm going to get on to some of those Claymore castings of the medieval range and get those done. And I've got a few more picks, doing the Maxwell clan at the moment, which good fun. Okay, talk to you soon. Cheers, hope you enjoyed.